I'm a bit tall, so let me just lift it up. There we go. Okay. Sorry to interrupt dinner. No, I leave the heels on. I never take the heels off. I might be 6 foot, but I like wearing them. Okay. Just to introduce myself, I'm Lorraine Mir, and I'm a patient from Milton Keynes. Imogen kindly asked me to step up and start talking to you. My journey is very different to Lucy and Richard's. I'm a stage 1B patient, having been diagnosed in November 2013. I have what I would call a very, very good team based in Milton Keynes, and I'm also treated at Oxford, where Mr. Cassell is based. I don't actually see Mr. Cassell, but I see Matt Potter in the head and neck clinic. The point I was diagnosed, I had waited a year to be referred to dermatology. And I'd been listening to people, been meeting people over the last day or so, and I hear that there are very similar stories going around the tables. I went to my GP with a mole on my neck, which had never been there before, had started to grow, sort of bubbled up, and was causing problems, couldn't wear a necklace, and was itching. The first couple of appointments I went to see my GP, as it is with GPs, you never see the same person twice. You know, you see a different person and they all have different opinions. So probably fourth or fifth round of seeing the GP, I actually said to the female GP, look, I brought you a photo of me 3 years ago. That mole isn't there. This is something that needs to be looked at. They offered to take it off in the surgery. I refused and asked to be referred to dermatology. And about 4 weeks later, my appointment came through, so it wasn't on a 2-week referral. And then I was taken into dermatology, saw a very nice doctor at Milton Keynes, Dr. Zena. And I suppose we all know when doctors look at us in a funny way and sort of go, that doesn't look right. So I was literally whipped in within 5 days, had the mole removed, so that was the first removal. And then I was invited back to clinic on a Saturday, so for results, which was about 10 days later. And of course, me being me, thinking, why am I going to a clinic on a Saturday? There are no clinics on a Saturday. Wound myself up to the nth degree. And went on Dr. Google. Yes, I know, fatal mistake. I have learnt my lesson. And just basically, scared myself to death. Myself and my partner turned up at the clinic. This is Milton Keynes Hospital. It's the only clinic open on a Saturday. All the other clinics were pitch black. So I got into clinic, there was one person before me, and there was the cancer nurse and one doctor on. And basically had a meltdown, which is really, really unlike me. If you know me, I'm not that sort of person. I'm quite proactive, I'm going to help you out, I'm quite strong, and just went totally to bits. So they called me in to tell me that they didn't actually have my results that day. So I literally went home and had a bottle of wine and asked me to come back the following Thursday. So I don't know why I didn't have the results, but they were very apologetic. But of course, that just added to the anxiety of the whole thing and just made me think even more that something else, was going on. It was worse than I actually thought. So I went back on the Thursday and I saw my nurse, who is Joyce Onyango at Milton Keynes, and she actually broke the news to me. It wasn't actually a doctor, and she said, yes, it's malignant melanoma, and I'm like, sitting there just astounded. She never actually said the word cancer, which I found, in a way, weirdly reassuring. But, later down the line we talked about cancer, but she breaks the news in a certain way, and she's very good at doing it. And then I proceeded to have another meltdown at that point. Didn't listen to anything she told me. She handed me a booklet. Basically, I think it was the Macmillan booklet on, malignant melanoma, and said, I'll give you a call in a few days. Ushered me off into a room, because obviously I was still at the point of, tears, shaking, didn't know what I was doing. And Milton Keynes Hospital isn't a big dermatology department, so of course if you come out, there's only a couple of rooms, so it's not as private as it could be. So onwards from there, after trying to get my head round the diagnosis, I was sent off to Oxford to go and see Matt Potter, and he very kindly talked me through the whole thing, talked about melanoma, how melanoma happens, what happens when you actually have a malignant mole, all the things that I hadn't really read in a book or gone back onto Google to have a look at. He was fantastic. And I have to say, he's one of the most proactive people I know in melanoma fields. And, he's always keen to come and help, and is always offering help when I go off and see him. So I then had to wait for the wide local excision and the sentinel lymph node biopsy until the February. So I was diagnosed in the November, but had to wait to the February due to the number of cases that they actually had at Oxford. And because my melanoma was 0.7 millimetres, was ulcerated, but it was considered to be a lower risk than those that were coming through the door at a much higher risk. But he reassured me, and I was just taking his word. And I thought, okay, I'll be fine. On the day of the actual operation at Oxford, as most of you know, if you've been in, you have to be there quite early in the morning, no drinking, no eating. I got there, was told I was probably going to be first down, and in the end I was last down because apparently I was the fittest person. Everybody before me had numerous medical conditions and had to go before me, so waited till about 4 o'clock in the afternoon to go down, which didn't help my anxiety. But eventually came out of the operation, recovered nicely, and then went on to the 3 monthly checks at Milton Keynes, proceeded to have a further 11 moles removed over a period of time, probably due to my anxiety, and I'm sure most of you can relate to that, in the sense of you find something, you look at it for long enough, there's clearly something wrong with it. And I'm sure in some cases they were just placating me to say, yeah, we'll take it off, because I was a newly diagnosed patient. But all of them came back clear, and so far I have been clear since that point, and I'm just on my regular checks. One of the things that actually really stuck out to me when I was diagnosed is the first thing I did after I got my head around the diagnosis was ask Joyce, is there a support group? Is there any support? And Joyce said to me, nope, nothing. She didn't even know about online support. I found melanoma mates through Macmillan, I think like most people in the room probably have. And Jackie found me. And I joined the group. And, you're a fabulous bunch of people, I have to say. Really, truly are. But there was nothing out there. There was nothing to tell me where to go. There was no signpost. There was nothing. So I went back to my nurse because I'm quite funny like that. I said to Joyce, look, I'm supposed to be checking myself. I don't know what I'm checking for. She probably saw me about 4 times so that I got the lymph node checks down fine. I can probably show anyone in the room how to do that now. And in conversations with her, she actually said to me, you're quite, you sound like you want to do something. I said, well, I would like to do something. I said, but what do I do? What could I do locally or further afield that could help people? And she, I said to her, I'll leave you my number. If another patient wants to get in touch, it'd be nice to talk to another patient. And then, lo and behold, a few weeks later, I had a phone call from Joyce telling me that there was another patient within Milton Keynes that was desperate to talk to somebody. And she put me in touch with the lovely Elaine, who's sitting over there. And Elaine and I contacted each other, got together, spent probably 3.5 hours in Costa, putting the worlds to rights. First meeting, don't know each other from Adam. And we are at very different spectrums. I'm stage 1B, Elaine's stage 4. And we look like little and large as well, so when we walk together. But we got on like a house on fire. Both of us were quite, why is there no support locally? So I made it my mission to try and start a support group. So basically, we went to a Macmillan Day and to talk to other support groups that were starting up, and people had started them up. And then I obtained the funding and started what is called the MK Supermoles. And that is the Milton Keynes support group for patients and carers. And we welcome anybody. And we have a Facebook page, and hopefully it is helping. We're up to about 13 members now, and a few of them are here today. So, you know, that's my thing. That's what I did as a result of melanoma. And I think there needs to be more of that locally so that patients have the opportunity to obtain that support. The online support is fabulous, but some people are just not on Facebook. I've got members in the group who just are very, very sort of funny about Facebook, or don't want to be on Facebook and just want that face-to-face cup of tea and a bit of cake. And as Mel knows, I bake at each of the support group meetings. And that's me. Thank you.